All right, all right, all right. Carnivore Soldier coming at you from Austin, Texas. It's the Hump Day Meetup. You made it another week. Let me tell you what, in the comment down below, if you're watching this live, type in what week it is for you. If you're watching it later, go ahead and type it in the comments after the fact. Okay, so today we got special guest, Katarina from Meat Fueled Living. I'm going to bring her in real quick and let her introduce herself. Hey, Katarina, how's it going?
Hey, it's me, Katarina from Meat Fueled Living.
Great. Why don't you just tell us a little bit about yourself real quick, where you're from, about your YouTube channel and your background.
Well, originally I'm from Northern Michigan, but I am a veteran. So I've traveled all over the world with the Army. I was in Texas and just recently moved to Colorado. I was basically for 13 years, I was a vegetarian and then whole food plant-based vegan all the way up until July 18th of this last year. I had numerous health conditions. I'll try to keep it really short because my list is like this long, but I had, IBS, GERD. I was clinically obese. I had petechiae all over my body, fatty liver, kidney damage, and just so many PCOS, and just all of these different conditions, and was just getting sicker and sicker. And I went to go see my doctor. I basically begged her for help because I wasn't paralyzed, but there would be periods of time where I could no longer walk. I had been hospitalized with inflammation in my body so bad. I was on a walker for months, and I was becoming a burden to my family, even though they would never have said that. But I went to my doctor and begged her to help me. She tried to put me on Ozempic, but I wouldn't do that, and told me that the recent diagnosis on top of all of the other was that I was pre-diabetic, insulin resistant, and all of these other conditions, and told me that they couldn't do anything for me because I wasn't going to go on Ozempic. So I, out of desperation, started searching on the internet for insulin resistant, something to help me. I ran across actually Dr. Barry on talking about the carnivore diet. And I just decided then and there to try this huge elimination diet. Went that night to Sam's Club and loaded up my cart with most disgusting looking meat I've ever seen in my life because, I didn't eat that stuff. And then that's it. July 18th or 19th, I started cold turkey carnivore diet. And it has been, I say this all the time, literally nothing short of a miracle. I was not doing this to lose weight, but I don't know exactly what I started out at, but once I started tracking my weight, I was at 235 and I'm well under 200 now. And that's just by a byproduct. I've got rid of severe PTSD and anxiety. I no longer have GERD. I no longer have IBS. I'm sleeping. My skin is cleared up. It just, the literal list of things that I could talk about, and we probably will later in this video, is immense.
So tell me two things. First off, you talked about Ozempic. So I actually have a members only channel where when people support the channel, we have like a members chat. It's just a private chat with people that are supporters, and then people like you, like YouTube content creators, come in as guests, or other veterans. I bring veterans and first responders in too. They don't actually have to be members because it's people that are supporting my mission Carnivore. And if you're interested in that, you can go to the YouTube channel, and there's like, I think it says support or member. I can't remember what it is, but there's like a button you can click and you can join. And then Mondays we have live streams for that. And we were talking about Ozempic, and I had some guests on there, and one of them told me that Ozempic's actually paralyzing people's stomachs. They're dying. They're dying.
I hadn't heard that, but I heard that it was paralyzing their stomachs.
No, he's a nurse. He's an RN nurse and a veteran. And he said that even though people are dying, his friend who he plays golf with was still going to do Ozempic like one more cycle to get ready for the holidays. I'm like, are you kidding me? That you could die and you would do that?
That's the VA actually no longer will prescribe it. I don't know if you had heard that yet, but they had so many side effects, blockages, and things like that were happening that they at least from my experience from people that I know that had been going there for it, they will no longer prescribe it because of other issues. So I didn't know people were dying.
Yeah, he said people are dying. He said there's actually people who've died. So it is super super sad, as Miss E just said. It's a sad thing that people would do that. Especially, okay, so I get it. So this is the thing. Before I found carnivore, I might have considered that. I wouldn't if it was death as an option, I wouldn't. But if there's like just regular bad side, no, I mean paralyzing your stomach, not down for that. But if it was just like regular, like okay, you could get diarrhea and you might get kidney damage, I'd be like, okay, I might roll the dice on it because I'm so out of shape now. And there's no way. I felt like there's no way for me to get in shape again, just like you probably did before this diet. I had failed at every diet, and I thought, well, I understand where someone who doesn't get the knowledge on the carnivore diet would go that direction because I probably could have been coaxed that way by a doctor.
I could have been easily, but on top of that fact that all of that, it was also so cost prohibitive that.
Is it? How much is it? I'm just curious.
Well, I mean, in TRICARE, it doesn't cover. Of course, I'm a veteran and my husband is a retiree as well. And so we have TRICARE, and TRICARE won't pay for it. So it was like $2,600 just to pay for it if you want it. And that
like
was
one cycle.
Yeah, that was like the one pen, maybe. I don't know. I don't know enough about Ozempic to be able to honestly tell you because I didn't do it. So
there's some well, so there's some cheaper alternatives coming out now that are knockoffs apparently. And so also from what I understand, I think Dr. Baker had a video and he said that it works, but they don't know, the scientific community and the doctors don't understand the mechanism of how it works.
And what
so they don't even know
get off of it?
They don't really know what it's doing. They just know it's effective. It was a side effect. It wasn't meant for this. It wasn't meant for weight loss, right? It was meant for controlling insulin for diabetics, I believe. I may be wrong, but I think it was.
No, it was originally a diabetic medicine, or still is.
Yeah.
It's being used off label for weight loss. But my question is, the insurance and them are only going to pay until you get to a goal weight, right? I don't know for a lot of people if they're going to even pay for maintenance doses after that. And what happens, I had briefly started watching what all the people talking about how the weight was coming back on and the food noise was coming back on, which for the record, carnivore diet, no food noise. It's gone.
Right.
And it's not killing me. But they're saying that they were having all these things come back and that it was actually becoming too overwhelming for them. So that means that for the rest of your life, you have to be on this drug that is potentially going to kill you anyways. I'll pass.
No way. And so expensive. So, I mean, even if it was free, I don't know. Oh, we got some, hey, we got William McCartney has his father who's turning 83, is going in for surgery. He'd like some prayers, so anyone can offer prayers. That'd be great. Or think about his father. That'd be fantastic. I'm praying for him, and hope everything works out, William. Keep us posted, all right? Let's see. We got a love this channel. Hey, Rich, thanks, man. Appreciate it. We've got Errol all the way from the UK. Staying up late, Errol. I like that. Hopefully, you're going to sleep in the morning. Maybe you're on shift or something. I don't know. Hopefully you're not sleep deprived watching this, but I appreciate your viewership for sure. And if you guys have questions, throw QQQ in there so we can find it really easily. Okay. I will be going through these as we go. The other thing about that Ozempic is, for understand, is people are losing a lot of muscle with it and not necessarily fat. So weight comes off quickly because you're losing actual muscle and the fat stays there. So, that's definitely not what you want. And whereas in carnivore, you lose fat and put muscle on. My legs got firmer. I don't know about you. My legs, my arms, everything got firmer. My chest, I feel younger.
Okay, so I think women, maybe the way that we carry fat is a little bit different. I also think that I was probably a lot heavier than you.
Yeah.
And I have noticed that I'm stronger. I have, because I mean, literally I lifted a piece of furniture up over my head and was able to carry it around. And 3 months ago, that would have never happened. But like, I'm going to show you, like I got well, you can't really see, but like my skin is like hanging.
Yeah.
And I have it on my arms. And then I said this the other day, and this probably sounds funny, but maybe some of the ladies out there can relate to this. When I walk, I was very not very large, but I was large, right? And now when I walk, I feel my legs,
It jiggles.
they're jiggling, but
Yeah.
and I still need to lose weight. Obviously, I have a ways to go. But I was like telling my husband before I moved out here that I'm like, when I walk, I can feel my legs doing this. I'm lucky in that my stomach isn't doing it, but all of
Yeah.
these areas are. So
Well,
I don't know. You don't look that way. I saw your picture on
yeah.
YouTube. You look good. I look like I got some things going on, but I don't care. I feel good.
Well, yeah, and it's how you feel. It's non-scale victories, but also, from what I understand, over time, a lot of that will go away too. There will be shrinkage. It could take a long time too, right? It could take a long time for that to go away.
I don't care though. I say this all the time.
Right.
I would have even been that size and that weight if I could have felt the way that I feel right now. So, I mean, flabby arms, flabby legs, I don't care.
Yep, live with it. I mean, it's no big deal. All right, Sandra McDonald, my buddy is an AFib diabetic. That's tough. Looks like legs looking like they'll need amputation, and his doc in hospital suggested Ozempic. My buddy didn't know what it was, but I was like, no. Yeah, tell your buddy, just try 30 days of carnivore. Don't even say forever. Just say, hey, try 2 weeks of carnivore. Try 30 days, and help them, because man, I've seen people. I don't know what kind of diabetic he is, a type 1 or type 2, but even type 1, it improves everything. Type 2 for sure you can reverse. I've seen it. I've talked to people. I've interviewed them on my channel. I'm a big believer in that, and they have no reason to lie, and you can just see they're healthy. I mean, they become healthy people again. Let's see. Hey, Jay Miller, that's my sis. Hi, sis. How's it going? Looking forward to Thanksgiving next week. I'm hosting. Okay. We got Dave Saunier. The knockoffs, basically generic versions or something totally different. It's okay.
They're
The
compound.
generic, the generic drug's not out yet, so it's a competitor's version. It's kind of like AstraZeneca versus Pfizer, kind of like with the vaccine. They do the same thing, probably the same type of drug, but they can't be identical because I'm sure there's a patent. I mean, I'm guessing, but there's a cheaper one out there that's like, hey, we do Astra, and we do the, we do it, but we do it cheaper, basically what they're saying. So,
well, did you hear or see all the controversy on that? Where the compound pharmacies, and then they actually and I can't remember who it was that is manufacturing Ozempic, and them came out and actually said, we are not making a formula for compound pharmacies. So whatever it is that the compound pharmacies are giving you, it's not our.
Oh, wow.
Did you not see that? You should look that up, because apparently all of these people, like you see it on TikTok, that are always talking about, oh, I went to the compound pharmacy. The makers of Ozempic, Wegovy, and them, they're saying that they're not sending them or making whatever it is.
Can't be, because it's going to be their patented formula, right? So
what's in those drugs that people are taking?
Who knows?
What is
it? There are some. Okay, so there is Wegovy.
Yep.
That is an alternative, and it's a drug. Same ingredients as Ozempic, works in the same way, and it's injectable, FDA approved. So apparently, it's the same ingredients, probably not the same formula, right?
There's Wegovy, Mounjaro, and Ozempic.
Yeah, so those are all the same thing. Stay away from them, people.
And they're all still very, very expensive.
Yeah, it's cheaper, but it's still really expensive. So, I mean, yeah, stay away from that stuff. All right, Miss E has a question. How strict a carnivore are you? Were you more or less strict at first versus now? Okay, I'll start with this one. I'll let you go. So when I started, and this is something Kat did too, we went 100%. I mean, I'm a firm believer in that. I mean, get it over with, rip the Band-Aid off. That's me, right? And I know, because I failed every diet in the past, and this had it looked the most legit based on all the videos I'd seen, the doctors I'd seen. So I'm like, okay, if this is real, then I need to approach it as though this is legit. I can't be half-assing it. So I went ahead and just dumped everything out of my pantry and refrigerator, either threw it away or donated to the food pantry, dumped out all the seed oils, because I was like, this is going to work. And I went, and the only thing I kept was a small shelf for my son. I put it in a really hard place to get down low where I don't like going. And that's where I kept his food until, because I didn't want to bend over and go down there and get, mac and cheese and all that junk out until he was there. And I kept cooking for him. That was in March. He went carnivore in July. So July, that shelf went away. And now all I have is I do have some starvation food, which I have MREs. I've got dehydrated food and I have canned soup. I will never eat that unless I'm starving. We would have to have the end of the world where grocery stores are not available for months. And then I would have to eat that. Right. And that's what it's for. But everything else I got rid of. And so I was pretty strict. Now, my strict carnivore, the way I recommend people do this is start off and don't fast. Just eat whenever you're hungry and eat to satiety, and try to eat all carnivore food. So I cook up a pound of bacon every day, throw it in the fridge really crispy, and I would snack on that, and I would snack on butter, and I would eat burgers and sausages and hot dogs. I ate hot dogs. I didn't eat a lot of chicken because I'm not a big chicken eater. I ate some pork and eggs and bacon for breakfast. I would eat 3 meals a day and snacks when I started. And then slowly after the first 30 days, I transitioned to where I was eating much less in the way of snacks and just doing 2 to 3 meals a day. And after today, 60 to 90, I went to 1 to 2 meals a day, mostly beef and very little snacking. And I do snack now. I'll eat carnivore bars for a snack. Those are expensive, but they're really good for you. And I'll eat butter for a snack. And I occasionally have hard cheese. Now, I did have more dairy back then than I do now. I really rarely eat dairy now. And I think that's the transition I've made. So it's been pretty clean. So my cheating is like Dr. Kilt's ice cream, right? Which is pretty dang good. A little bit of sweetener. You got eggs and heavy whipping cream and a little bit of vanilla. So that's all I got. So that's a cheat. And I think if that's a cheat, that's a clean diet. So how about you, Kat? What do you think? What did you start out like?
I'm sorry. I have a cat, but here.
I saw the cat. What's the cat's name?
It's Bear, and he's showing you his butt, which must mean he likes you. He's always, whenever I'm on with you and nobody else. So for me, I came at the carnivore diet a little bit different than some people, I guess you would say. I came at it from the elimination perspective. I had no interest in eating meat whatsoever, but something was killing me, making me incredibly sick. And so the best elimination diet for that is carnivore, because people don't usually get sick eating beef. So I was very, very strict. And actually, initially, the only thing I really could even eat was ground beef, because the smell and taste of meat just made me sick from the vegan standpoint. And after I had been doing it for about 90 days, I did start incorporating dairy. It was about not even 90 days. It was about 30 days. I started incorporating dairy, and I had to learn. That was a learning curve for me, exactly how much dairy I could have. For a while there, it was none. And then now I know exactly how much I can have. But actually, I was so strict that it was butter and beef initially, and it was ground beef, because that was the only thing that I could do. Then now, currently, like Larry, I keep bacon cooked all the time in my house. I make brown butter bites. Those are my snacks, bacon and brown butter bites, and occasionally those Archer meat sticks. But I'm still very, very strict. I eat bacon, eggs, beef. I haven't tried the goat yet, but I'm gonna. Lamb. I just ruin pork, and I don't really care for chicken. Quite frankly,
I don't either.
It's but so very strict. If that was your question, how strict? Very, very strict for me. But I did it from the elimination standpoint. And I don't know long term if I'm ever going to introduce any of those foods back again, because when I did go overboard on dairy, I felt so bad. And then when we were moving, I snacked on a couple things that were the kids' stuff, and I felt I couldn't walk on my knees. The inflammation in them was so bad just from having a little snack of something of theirs. And as things go, it wasn't even that bad of something. So for me, I feel so horrible when I put anything else in my body, and it's like that. It's,
Yeah.
I swear, I eat it, and 2 hours later, my body is on a revolt. So, still strict, and probably will stay strict.
Yeah, and I get the feeling sometimes, you know, I wish I could eat feelings. Like I wish I could eat peanut butter or whatever. Like I get those feelings every now and then, but they go by pretty fast. But what I don't miss, and I was like, well, I kind of miss that a little bit, but I don't miss the pain, the brain fog, the everything that goes with it, the weight loss. I mean, I have all confidence now. You know, everything's much better now. So it seems like it's hard, but the further you go, the easier it gets. I mean, you were a vegan before or a vegetarian. You were vegan, right? So you know how to do it.
Vegetarian for 3 years, then vegan for
Yeah,
10.
so you know how to do a restricted diet. And it for someone coming from a standard diet, that's hard too, right? So it seems hard, but it's really a skill that you build. And once you get past 90 days, it gets a lot easier. That's all I got to say.
Yeah, I don't even have cravings anymore. Every now and again, I'll say out of habit, I think, oh, I wish I could have that. And then I think about it and I'm like, no, I don't. I really don't wish I could have it at all. Now, sugar was very hard for me for a long time. But now I tried some in honor of you, Larry. As a matter of fact, it's in my video coming up. You talk about barbecue so much
Oh
that
yeah.
I was like, I'm gonna get some barbecue seasoning, and I ordered the Redmond's barbecue seasoning.
Oh, I didn't know they
Um,
had that. I gotta try that.
yes, and it has a very small amount of allulose in it. So if you
Yeah.
don't do any
Nah.
artificial sweeteners, but I tasted it, and the sweetness of that, just, it was so like overpowering, and I'm like, wow, normally I bet you I wouldn't have even noticed that
Yeah.
that sweetness. But it's just weird because I was like, wow, that's really sweet. But yeah, they have, anyways, I did that. I think I told you I had mentioned you in my videos. I'm like, Larry is always talking about Texas barbecue. So, anyways,
Well, Texas barbecue, we wouldn't put any of that stuff on. I gotta be honest. It's salt and pepper, and that's all it is, and smoke. But and that's real barbecue, and that's why I feel pretty comfortable going to any barbecue place in Texas and ordering brisket because you're gonna get pretty clean meal. There's no seed oils there typically. There may be some pepper, but it's, you know, I mean, if you're not eating it daily, you're not going to get oxalate poisoning from pepper on barbecue meat. It's not going to happen. It doesn't happen for me anyway. I don't get inflammation from it. So I don't eat it every day, but I eat it once or 2 weeks. And as far as sweeteners, I use an artificial sweetener for Dr. Kiltz's ice cream. I only use 1 teaspoon for the whole thing of ice cream. So, and again, like you said, it's enough sweetness because I don't have sweetness in my diet that really tastes sweet to me. Looks like her friend won't do it. His heart specialist in hospital is Carnivore and told him he needs to do it. He said he wouldn't, and lasted 1 day. Well, we could say some prayers for him too, then, because he's got a rough road ahead. And if he thinks Ozempic's the answer, man, that's got to be a harder road. That's all I got to say. Okay. Yeah.
I see Rich has a question at 722.
Okay.
I'm sorry, not 722, 721. He wants to know how you incorporate fiber, since this diet essentially eliminates it and you don't need fiber. If you think about it from the perspective of when you defecate, when you take a number 2, you are actually getting rid of the things that your body cannot use.
Right.
So when you're eating all that plant fiber, and I used to think taking 5 and 6 number 2s a day was what I was supposed to be doing. No, that was my body telling me it couldn't use any of that crap, literally, pun intended. As a carnivore, I barely poop. Okay, maybe every 4 or 5 days, and I don't mean I want to get like into, you know, what's that book? Everybody poops, but
yeah,
literally, it's not even. And I'll tell you something else I don't do, and they say ladies don't do it anyways. I don't fart. Okay, I don't poot at all. My husband could clear an entire stadium, but I don't fart because he eats all that other stuff. But all of that has gone away, and you know why? Because my body is using exactly what it needs from the meat, and it doesn't have to get rid of anything until, you know, days later. So all of those doctors that tell you that you go number 2 so much because, you know, that's good for you. No, it's not. And that's your body saying it's worthless. It's worthless shit.
It's overworking your bowels. And actually I forget what part of your bowels it actually can cause damage to, but it does cause damage to it.
And you remember all that uncomfortable feeling you would get, like constipated or the bloating? I don't even remember what that feels like anymore. I haven't had it in so long. So
I know, right? I'm looking for a Dr. Chafee video that I had that he talked about fiber. It was so good. I don't know if you
I'm not a
saw it.
doctor, though. I'm just telling you from my perspective, I can't see how you possibly would need something if your body is trying to get rid of it.
Yeah, well, also it's completely undigestible. So it's, what's the value add when you're eating stuff that cannot be digested? So the whole value add that this is something that happened in the 80s. That's when they started recommending fiber. Fiber was never recommended in our diet. When I grew up, there was no discussion of fiber. There's no recommendations of fiber. It was a square meal. That's what we ate in the 70s. In the 80s, as an adult, they started recommending fiber. And the idea was this: fill your gut up with things that you can't digest and you'll eat less, so you'll lose weight. And it'll help clean your bowels out. Well, that doesn't work, because the carbohydrates in vegetables break down to sugars and make you an addict, so you're always wanting to eat. So that didn't work as far as like not making you hungry. Just look back before you were carnivore. If you have been carnivore, look back. You were hungry all the time. I don't have to ask you. I know you were, because that's the way everyone is. And then the other thing is, you're actually, like Dr. Chafee says, you might as well just be eating a styrofoam or a plastic bag, because here we go. I found the video. I'm gonna go ahead and share this. Let me cue this up. Okay, here we go. Let me share this screen. Sorry guys, I'm not super great at this. So present, stop screen.
You're better than me.
Yeah, share screen, and fiber is not good for you. So we're gonna do this, share. And yeah, here we go. Let me play this for you guys, because this Dr. Chafee just hits it out of the park with this.
Plants and fiber, roughly my estimation is around 90%, 95% of the plant itself is fiber, right? So that's a structural component. You can't break it down, you can't absorb it, you can't use it. It has to come out the other side, right? Exactly the opposite for when you're only eating meat. You will absorb, if you're eating meat and you're only eating meat and you're not eating it with fiber or a bunch of protease inhibitors and other sort of digestive disruptors and tannins and things like that that block your body's ability to break down and absorb the meat that you're eating, you'll absorb roughly 98% of the meat you're eating. If you get rid of the gristle and you're just eating just the soft meat and the soft fat, nearly 100%. And so you have very little waste coming out. That's the thing,
and that's the right answer. So, I mean, that's exactly what I experience. I go to the bathroom maybe twice a week, and it's very little because I'm eating a lot of ground beef and butter, right? And so if you want to, now, a lot of people, when they first start this diet, they think they have constipation because they're not going to the bathroom. That's not constipation. Constipation is a measure of how hard your stool is and if it's painful coming out. If your stool is soft, it's not constipation. It's just not going through because there's nothing happening. There's nothing to go out because there's no waste because you've digested almost everything you ate. And I probably get about 98 to 99% digestion based on how much I eat. It's amazing. I'll eat a whole steak and I'm not full. I'm not like I'm not stuffed and I barely poop any of it out. Or today I ate burgers like patties, and I just have to remind myself to go sit on the toilet sometimes. And when I do, then I can go a little bit here, because I'll just forget because I don't, I'm not rushing to the toilet. Now before I'd be like, oh my gosh, I got to go now, and I'd rush because it would happen. The signal would hit, and it would be an event where you have to sit there for a while, So you don't need any fiber.
Don't get me started on that.
Yeah, you don't need any fiber, and it's healthier without it. You can look at the Maasai tribe. You can look at the Inuit. You can look at many tribes that have no fiber in their diet, and they are completely healthy from birth all the way to death, cradle to grave. So the fact is, since human beings are living this way healthy, and they don't have cancer and stuff either, it's very rare, very, very, very rare for someone to die from cancer in those tribes. And heart disease does not exist. All the modern Western diseases are food-based diseases. They're plant-based diseases, specifically plant-based foods. So, so fiber, that's just a falsehood. Dr. Chafee put that one to bed. And like he says, you might as well just eat a plastic bag because that'll fill you up. You can't digest it and you'll poop it out. So that's If you're not going to eat a plastic bag, then don't eat fiber. All right. DC Learning Live coming in from Australia. How's it going, brother? If you haven't checked out DC Learning Live's channel, he's an amazing story. I've done an interview with him. You can find the interview on my channel, but subscribe and like his channel too. He survived the tsunami and earthquake in Japan, which was amazing, and then got stage 4 cancer, diagnosed twice and beat it. And now he's got it essentially put into remission through diet alone. And he doesn't eat fiber either. So there you go. I mean, and you know, that's any of these carnivores don't eat fiber. Again, if your poop is hard, eat more fat, eat butter, add it to your diet. That's how you dial your poop softness in, because fat, you only digest you only digest as much fat. Your body will only digest as much fat as you have bile to digest it, right? So
and you know if you have too much fat. I promise you know.
And you're not going to eat, and eating more fat won't make you fat, because those calories go right through you. Like,
yeah, I was going to say, there's no way.
A goose, right? Because once you run out of bile, it's going to turn into water, and it's going to come out. Yep. So, but if you dial it up, you get used to how much you're eating. Like I eat probably half a stick of butter a day throughout the day, with either on my meat or just as a snack. And my poops are always the same firmness now, like a nice soft, small poop. And that's
you'll learn really quick how much you need.
You will.
So for sure, because that's I do too. I don't eat the stick of butter. I make it into brown butter bites, and then I put them in little molds, and then I just keep it in the refrigerator, and I'm always in there. But I know it's almost like my stomach tells me, no more, or I know now just intuitively to just not keep eating it. And but if that was a candy bar in the past, matter of fact, I could tell you when I had gotten those prior to when I quit out, because I had stopped dairy as a vegan, obviously, but they had those those Cadbury eggs, those ones with the hard coating.
Yeah.
I had been known in the past to eat an entire bag of those in one sitting, because you just can't stop. But my stomach would never tell me I'm full, and my brain would never say, knock it off, nut job. So but with butter, I can go in there and just keep eating them, and then all of a sudden my mind is like, you know what, I'm not hungry anymore, I don't need that. And it's just weird. It's so weird how it cuts all that noise out of your head.
Well, what it does is it fixes your hunger signals, which are broken by design, because these companies like Chick-fil-A, who has 100 ingredients in their chicken sandwich, it's got to be more expensive and infinitely harder to make 100 ingredient sandwich than it is just to get 2 pieces of bread and a piece of chicken and some mayonnaise and some lettuce, right? So they're doing it on purpose to get us addicted. They add all these things because they know that when you fry things in vegetable oil and you have processed grains with it in the batter, and you add seed oils, and carbohydrates, when they're fried, especially, and oxidized, they just break your hunger signals and make you hungry all the time. That's why Chick-fil-A lines never empty, right? Never.
Those are long.
Never empty. No, people are. It's an addiction, man, and they know it. No way in hell a chicken sandwich is that good. Especially now that I've been away for a while, I don't want chicken. Give me a steak or a burger, right? But back then, I was all about it, and I thought, well, this is the healthy choice for my kids. I used to buy the Chick-fil-A sauce from my refrigerator for my kids, chicken strips at home. Now looking at it, it's all, the number one thing is oil. It's like seed oils in it. I forget which one it is. It's terrible though. I would never. And so I've shared that with him because, seed oils.
Fortunately for me, I never ate it, but I didn't know that it was, but Doritos are completely engineered to, besides, being cancer causing, but they are engineered at the exact right something, whatever, to addict you so that you keep eating them.
It's a bliss point, and it's a mix of sugar and salt. That's why they add sugar to the fries at McDonald's, to get that bliss point dialed in, to make it the most addictive they can make it. It's in that sugar movie, they talk about it, where they have food engineers and they show them designing this bliss point for a food. So they know exactly what they're doing. I mean, and listen, I understand it from a capitalist point of view. I'm all about free market, but you know what? How about informed consent? hey, we're going to make this. It's going to be bioengineered. It's going to be, it's going to make you. It could make you addicted. Maybe put like warnings like they do with the drugs. Warning: if you eat these fries, you might become addicted.
Like they do with that California label that's on everything.
Like they did with coffee over there for a while. Yeah. Let's see. Dave Saunier. Now, Dave Saunier is a veteran chief petty officer from the Navy. I served in the Navy 6 years before I went Army, so we have a lot in common. He's a great guy, and I interviewed him on my Mission Carnivore as well. So definitely check it out. He's an endurance athlete. So if you are into athletics and athletic performance, he does a lot of 100-mile plus rides and stuff. He says he's very strict with it, even after almost 1 year. Diet not include any fruits, vegetables, or grains. If I eat any type of vegetable, it's basically an accident. Yeah, that's for me too.
Yeah.
It wasn't on purpose, right? Missy, dairy makes me hurt so bad. A lot of people have reactions to dairy. And, if you were, people ask about milk and whole milk and raw milk. Hey, Carnivore Back was here too. And, if you're going to drink a milk, I've actually tried goat milk. Now, goat milk, I guess the casein proteins or whatever aren't as bad for you, so you may not have the reactions. But also, I found out that MCT oils, mid-chain triglycerides, are really healthy for you, and they're excellent when you're on this diet, right? So you can get MCT oil, which is a coconut-based oil, but it's actually, purified, just mid-chain triglycerides that you can drink or add to your coffee. But MCT oil is also found naturally in milks, right? Well, in regular whole milk, I think it's 10%, but in goat milk, it's 30%. Like, it's much healthier milk for you. And I tried some. I used to love milk. I'm not a big milk drinker now, but I tried some. And the cool thing is, if you've had goat cheese, it's got like that goat cheese finish to it. Like you just ate a piece of goat cheese at the end, the finish after you finish eating it in your mouth. And that's the flavor, but it's much less strong. I did like it a lot. I just haven't bought it again because I don't do a ton. So Carnivore Backwood, how's it going, man? What's up, John? Kat says she's going to do her first live stream pretty soon. I'm going to hold her feet to the fire because she needs to.
He is. He's always asking me, but I'm afraid to do it because I'm afraid nobody's going to.
So, John, you have to be on that. You have to be on that with her. And anyone watching this, you have to join too. That's just the way it is. It'll be her first live stream, and she's excited to get it going. So, yeah, the good thing in Texas, we have barbecue joint at every corner. That's what I say. It's like you have no excuse for not being able to eat carnivore out in town in Texas. None. Because you can go to either a good barbecue place or just get a burger, right? And then they have steak places too. So let's see. I poop every 4 to 5 days. I think that's normal. For me, it is. Some people do it every day. I think that if I went and sat on the toilet every day and just thought about it and go, I'm going to sit down, I could probably have a really tiny poop every day. But I just don't. Pooping is like a waste of time for me. I got stuff to do, and I'll sit down when I need to go. It's just like eating. And I talked about this before. Some of you guys have heard me when I was a kid, and I was playing with my friends out in the yard or out in the neighborhood. My mom would call me for dinner. Back when they did it, they'd yell, or they'd call the parents, whoever you're playing, and say, hey, send them home for dinner. And I'd apologize. Sorry, guys, I have to go eat dinner, and then I'd go eat dinner, and I just wolf it down as fast as I could so I could get back out and start playing again, right? Especially in the summer. And that's kind of the way I treat my meals now. It's like eating is just something I do really quick. I just get it out of the way, and it's good. And then I go do stuff. And I don't know what you, Kat, but that's the way I do. I approach food. My relationship with food has changed. And so you've done a elimination diet before, but a different kind, right? The vegan is kind of an elimination diet where you eliminate everything else. Did you ever get that feeling? Did your relationship with food change like it did with this? I'm sure it's changed with this, but did it change at all with the other diets you were on?
I was obsessed with food. I don't want to say obsessed, but it was like I was always thinking about, how many calories there might be in that, whether or not, because back then I was doing something called the 50-50 plate. So 50% starchy vegetables and then 50% non-starchy vegetables. And, looking at recipes, because to be fair, I miss vegetables. I do. I do love vegetables, but there are some vegan foods that just taste like ass. It's just, they're not good. And so unless you're eating the junk vegan food, which I was not. I was a whole food plant-based, but sometimes it would be very bland or whatever. So I was always thinking about new recipes, new ways to cook something, a way that I could get my kids to eat it. And then I was on this constant binge restrict cycle because of obviously the potatoes and the rice and everything were, causing me to be fatter and sicker. And that's all I ever thought about was food. Literally, it was like everything was food. Let me go buy this cookbook. Let me go get this. And now I don't think about food. I don't think about food at all. At all.
Yeah. I know it's an afterthought.
Then, ooh, that's got a lot of fat on it. That looks good. I mean, I do that. I'll go to the store and I'm like, ooh, look at that. But no.
You know what's interesting about potatoes, and I didn't notice this. I didn't know this because I always heard about like the potato famine in Ireland. So I thought, okay, Europe must have been eating potatoes for thousands of years, right? That's just what I thought. Apparently, it's only hundreds of years because potatoes were from the American continent. I believe they're from South America, and the Spaniards found them when they sailed across and discovered the New World. That's when they found potatoes and brought them back to Europe. So potatoes didn't even exist. So they haven't been part of the standard Western diet. Except for, I guess that would have been the 15th century or 16th century, maybe 14th century at the earliest. So it's not very long that we've been eating potatoes. I mean, if you think about our body adjusting to it, right? So it makes sense that, we're not good at digesting them because we don't have millions of years of eating potatoes. Now, people that grew up with potatoes, maybe they do. Maybe people from South America that had potatoes. And again, the potatoes they ate may not look anything like the ones we have now. I'm sure they've been engineered. But it's just kind of interesting. Okay, yeah, it's a great poop conversation. It is. I love poop conversations now. Never used to talk about my poop, but now I'm good. And gas, I don't fart either. That's pretty good. And if I do, if there's a little toot, there's like no smell. Like even when I poop, there's like no smell. It's great.
It's true.
You save money on deodorizers and candles and matches and all that stuff. Let's see. 1 to 2 times a day is normal, some people think. Yeah, it is bad on the plumbing. I forget what part of the colon that it can damage, but it does from being overused. Dr. Chafee has a video about it where he says, if you're going every day multiple times, you never rest that. And it's not meant to operate like that. It's meant to operate like we're operating now, right? It's like when you see wild animals in the animals in the wild, when they poop, it's just really quick and it's like really hard usually and very small. Scat, you see like a deer just poop out and then move. If you're a hunter, you'll see it. Same with rabbits, they just poop and they move. They don't, it's not like a big thing. And even with cows, I mean, so let's see. If I eat a slice of butter, I get bound up, then put on my running shoes. If I get bound up. Okay. Yeah, there you go. I see. Okay. So it doesn't cause it. Yeah, I see. All right. Dave Saunier is talking about DC Learn to Live. Great story. It is. DC Learn to Live does have a great story. Definitely watch it. He does not use dairy either. I do occasionally get a hard cheese, like a Parmesan type cheese, and then cut it, or an aged cheddar. I do like that. Usually when friends are coming or on a date or something, I'm entertaining. So for Thanksgiving, I will probably have some cheese and meats. What do you call that? Charcuterie tray?
Charcuterie.
Charcuterie. Yeah, whatever.
I'm
going to make a little tray, and I'm going to make deviled eggs. That's super easy, and it's 100% carnivore. And then I'm going to smoke steaks, and we're just going to have we're going to have a good time. It's going to be nice, the family together. That's Dave Saunier, great wife. Yep. Okay, even goat milk made me hurt. I'll try the MCT. Yeah, it's if you have allergies, you have allergies. I mean, then butter may work, and then if butter doesn't, you can go to ghee and get a lot of the same benefits from ghee. But if hopefully you can do butter, because butter is great. But yeah, if you can't do goat milk, you can try raw milk or raw goat milk. Now,
we had a really good conversation in the Carnivore Roundtable this last weekend about butter and how it helps with menopause symptoms.
Yes.
And so if you can, I mean, I don't know what age you are, but if you could prevent that from happening by getting that butter in there, and I don't remember, what is it, butyrate, or just
It
me
is.
making up some words now.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I be making sure I eat a lot of butter because I'm perimenopausal, and so I was already suffering hot flashes and stuff like that. But you know what? I wanted to tell John that too. After I thought about it, I haven't had a hot flash in I don't remember. I mean, I used to get into arguments with my husband. We couldn't even sleep in the same room because I needed it to be ice cold and he needed it to be, what I considered to be HE double hockey sticks. And I just realized as I was thinking about that, I wanted to tell John, because he told me his wife had been eating a lot of butter, and if she stopped eating the butter, she would start to have hot flashes again.
Yeah, there's a interview with called "Eat One Stick of Butter" by 5 Minute Body, and she interviewed what's that doctor's name? Let me see. I'm going to share it in the comments so you guys can check it out, or I'll share it in the description of the video when I'm done. But she does an interview where she talks about that regulating hormones and menopause. It's
with butter.
With butter, and it's a woman's video. It's really good. It's all about, I mean, they talk about it's so women stuff. It's amazing. I watched it because they talk about like women can't orgasm, all stuff. I'm not really, whatever. All this stuff that's girl talk. But they do talk about how menopause is supposed to be like she had apparently, where she just, I just stopped bleeding, so it's done. But there's like no other symptoms, and she says the hot flashes are a cortisol response. Just like when you got in trouble when you were in grade school and you had to go see the principal, you get that hot flash because you'd be in trouble.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. It's the same response to your body, right? It's a biological response. And I'm going to go ahead and see if I can copy this and put it in the comments.
Yeah, I'd be interested in checking that out because I hadn't heard that. And like I said, the Carnivore Roundtable, he was all by himself with all of us ladies, and it was all lady talk.
Yeah. I'm glad I wasn't on that one.
It was all lady talk. And he was like, no, actually he wasn't. He was amazing. But I hadn't heard that. And so I was thinking about it, and I haven't, because I actually started adding a little more butter, and that's more my snack now. And
it's Dr. Elizabeth Bright. It's Dr. Elizabeth Bright, and I copied the link. Now, don't go and watch that video right now, but that link's in the chat, and I'll put it in the video description. Dr. Elizabeth Bright, and she also talks about butter boobs, which apparently your boobs get firmer over time on the carnivore diet.
Thank God! I'm going to eat a whole thing of.
Yeah, she eats a stick of butter a day. I mean, legit. That's what she does.
I probably do though.
Yeah.
Well, we did talk about boobs in John's thing.
So. Nice. John was probably like a shell of a man now after that one. That's funny. We got a little success story here. G Dizzle, 3 weeks in the carnivore, lost 23 pounds, but have had about the same weight for a week. Is this normal? Yes. Mm-hmm. It is normal, and that's exactly what I experienced. You're going to go and level off and dip and level off and dip. But the thing is, you may be the same weight, but are your pants fitting differently? That you start noticing how your clothes are fitting, because I'd get to the weight where I'd level off and then I would continue to lose fat, but my body morphology, or I forget what you call it, physiology, would change, where I'd actually add more muscle and my waist would continue to drop. So I knew my shirts were fitting differently. They were looser. They weren't super tight like when I was totally swollen and, not swole, not cool, but swollen. I was like inflamed, and all my shirts were really tight. And then now like all my jackets, like I'm all tapered and stuff. So it's great. It's like everything fits like it's supposed to. It looks more like a mannequin when I'm wearing my clothes, which I love. So losing 23 pounds, that's almost exact same thing I started with. Now, what questions are like, what did you start at? How do you feel? Look at your non-scale victories too. Don't just focus on weight. Weight is the worst indicator because it does plateau out. But your non-scale victories will continue, and your weight will dial in. From what I'm experiencing, what other people I've talked to experienced, you're going to probably get back to a weight you were in college or high school, even some guys have, or in girls. It's just your body just naturally reverts to what it's supposed to be. The normal.
And I know I'll sit, like recently I sat at the same weight for a while. And then I don't know, I got on the scale just because I unpacked it and I found it and I'm like, ooh, look, my scale. So I stepped on it and I had dropped like 5 more pounds and it just happened, but I had stayed at the same weight for the longest time.
Yeah, don't focus on it.
It just kind of just goes down until you get to where your body naturally should be at, and then that's it. Then you just kind of stay there.
So on my website, I actually have a link for a planning guide you can download, and it does have kind of a journal, like the first 30 days, the next 30 days, 60, 90 days, and it has a questionnaire where you can actually track things that are not weight. That, how's your mental health, your sleep quality, when you wake up. What do you feel like? Are you getting outside more? Are you doing more activity? That kind of stuff. These are things you need to track because that's really the secret to this thing. Weight is great. Weight is great, but it's not the primary. Oh, DC Learn and Live. So got to say, I loved your video on the Japanese market. He's talking. So he was doing something about the blue zone. So if you guys don't know what blue zone is, this is where they say, oh, people are living to 100 years because they're eating vegetables, right? And it's all bogus. It's fake science again, because yes, they're eating vegetables, but they're eating a lot of meat. And he was talking about Okinawa, I believe it was. I might be wrong, but where they eat, it may be a different video. I was confusing, but I know in a lot of Japanese places, they eat a lot of pork and a lot of fish along with their rice. And he showed this market, and it was like meat aisle after meat aisle. The meat aisle makes Texas look lame compared to, it was amazing how much meat they had. And every piece of meat, like the steak, came with a chunk of lard to fry it in the meat package. How cool is that? Not vegetable oil, lard. And anyway, they actually had some cool butter there, though, that I would love to try sometime. It looked pretty awesome. And it was raw milk butter, which you could buy at the grocery store. Oh, you could buy that here. It'd be fantastic. Yeah, the body composition. Yes. So we're building muscle and bone density. And muscle and bone density weigh a lot more. So that's why I said you can level off at a weight and your body will continue to change your composition. Actually, as DC taught, DC Learn and Live's a fitness trainer. So, he's got a history of doing that. Cancer survivor, great guy. So if you have questions about that stuff, he'll be the guy. Yeah, your waist, not your weight. That's correct. I was an example of overnight menopause. Doc said it couldn't be because menopause, because my bloods were not even showing perimenopause. So tested bloods, and sure enough, single sex driven hormone left. Okay, cool. Now I'm curious, were you carnivore when that happened, or it just happened without? Because that's from what I understand. People that are carnivore, it's just something that happens. It's just like it stops, and there's no. How great is that? Think about all these drug companies that have these things to fight symptoms. All these drug companies, you have depression, you have anxiety drugs, you have ADHD, you have all these things that are probably, most of them are diet related from plant foods, right? You have menopause. A lot of this stuff. And think about what we could be like without it. I know, because I'm drug free completely, other than occasional Advil and occasional, like today I got bit by some bugs when I was doing yard work. Because life still happens. Even when you're carnivore, you're going to get bit by fire ants and stuff. I got into some fire ants, so I took some Benadryl because that helps. When I was in the Army in the field, I always had Benadryl because I got bit like by everything in the field. So Benadryl works. That's the kind of stuff I take over the counter and nothing major. So I don't do any big drugs anymore. Great question. Day 48 leveled off. Feel like belly shrinking and look smaller in the mirror. Only wait and measure at 30-day intervals. That's probably a good idea. Weighing every 30 days, just as a, to mark it and maybe record it, journal. I recommend journaling. This is my journal, kind of this video thing.
And I journal on an actual book, which I've shown. I still do. I don't track my food anymore, but I still journal. Because, I sort of track my food, because if I introduce something that like more dairy, or I tried half and half in my coffee, I think maybe it was Dave Sanier that does the half and half. And so I tried that instead of heavy cream. And I document that because if I'm going to have a reaction or something, then I know what it was. So I'm a big fan of journaling your stuff and then how you feel and all that kind of stuff. It's so weird to look back at the first day you started and how you're like, oh, blah, blah, and then you get further on and it's all, you know, rainbows and sunshine ish.
Absolutely feel better mentally, and my knees have stopped hurting. It feels so great after 3 weeks. I can't wait for what's in the future. Yeah. So you'll continue. You'll probably realize things just go away and you didn't realize they went away. And then you're like, oh, wait a second. I haven't taken an allergy pill in 3 months. That's kind of what happened to me. Some things just, you forget that you had the challenge and all of a sudden you realize, oh my gosh, I haven't done this, or I don't feel this anymore. And then I think the biggest thing though, after in the future, is it just gets easier because you get into the new, we used to call it in the Army a battle rhythm. You basically get used to your new routine, right? Like whenever you go to a base and you fall in on a fob or something, or wherever you're at, you're going to run into a new battle rhythm because you have to get used to what's going on there on a daily basis. This is your new battle rhythm. So embrace it. I told my work colleague, I eat butter like a bar of chocolate. The look I got was classic. That's awesome. Yeah. People do think you're weird, which, you know what, but they can't argue with your results. The girl I went on a date with, she's a nurse, and, you know, I told her that I was on this diet, and then I showed her the results, the picture before and after. If you haven't seen it, it's on the Facebook page. It's like the March 22nd to September 23rd. And it was from 280 to 234. And it's amazing because all the muscle I put on, I look fantastic compared to what I did. And she's like, I think seeing is believing. When you see that, it's like, oh, because she sees me now, but she never saw me when I was 280, which is only, and she goes, that's really a short time period. I'm like, yeah. And I never got hungry once. Not once was I hungry where I didn't eat. If there's food around me, I went and got it. And I work from home, so there's always food around me. How about you, Kat? You ever get hungry that you don't eat?
Do I get what?
Get hungry where you don't eat? Do you ever like fast, or do you just eat whenever you're hungry?
Oh, you were confusing me. Do I get hungry where I don't eat? No, I do not fast. And I don't ever feel hungry until, I mean, the other day it was 6:30 before I ate. I don't fast intentionally. I'm not hungry, and I only eat when I am hungry. And if there's a day where I don't feel like eating at all, I don't eat at all.
Yep.
That has happened. And I don't mean like, because I'll think to myself, okay, well, do I want to make a steak or something? Nope. Do I want a piece of bacon? Nope. Do I want a piece of butter? Nope. Then I don't eat. And that has happened a couple times.
Yeah, it's like learning your hunger signals. Learn your hunger signals and trust them. You don't have to help this diet. That's the other thing. You don't have to help it. You don't have to like, well, I'm going to do carnivore and I'm going to do intermittent fasting. That's the wrong answer. Because unless your intermittent fasting will just happen when you listen to your hunger signals, but your hunger signals have to repair first. You shouldn't find yourself hungry on this diet and not be eating unless you're doing it for a medical reason, a religious reason, or, you know, you have some goal that you're doing. That's different, but on a daily basis, you shouldn't be like fasting. You just eat when you're hungry.
I even go so far as, for the most part, I don't eat in the mornings, but I'm the prolific coffee drinker anyway. So I am putting, you know, either half or a little bit of heavy cream into my coffee. So essentially I would have been breaking my fast anyways, but I generally won't eat until very late in the day. But sometimes I wake up and I'm hungry and I immediately want to have like bacon and eggs or something. And if that happens, I eat because that's my body telling me that it wants to eat. And then maybe the next day I don't eat again until 6:30 or whatever. There have been days though. And so if I was intermittent fasting, I would not allow myself to eat. And then I would be restricting myself, which will just throw me back into that binge restrict cycle that I don't want to be in anymore. And I have had no issues doing it this way. And
that's the relationship with food that gets healed, right? Because now you can just trust your body to say, hey, I'm hungry or I'm not. Like yesterday, I did eat eggs and bacon. Today, I ate no breakfast. I ate lunch and dinner. That's all I ate. And it's just, that's the way it is. So once you've healed your gut and you've got normal hunger signals again, you can actually trust your body, and you just need to learn how to listen to it, and you will fast. It'll happen. Now, if you're going to implement fasting to get rid of loose skin because you lost a lot of weight, that's different, and you schedule that, and that is for a purpose, and I'm totally good with that. I think that's fine. But because there's evidence that actually works. But like yesterday, I started lifting again, and yesterday I woke up hungry probably because I'm lifting weights. I guess, hey, guess what? If you work out, you're going to get hungry more. So I ate breakfast. I ate 2 eggs and bacon, and it was fantastic. I felt great all day. Today I didn't eat breakfast because my body just listen to my body. Yeah, Dr. Chafee had a video of the guy who owns an assisted living center, and he incorporated the carnivore diet with amazing results with the children's or the whoever's taking care of the adults, because this is an assisted living center where people have Alzheimer's too, and he actually reversed Alzheimer's where like one patient went home, which unheard of stuff. And it turned out that the Alzheimer's was diet related and statin related, so they took them off the statins because they didn't need it anymore when they got the diet right, and the Alzheimer's reversed where this person came in, didn't know their own kids' names. And then after like 90 days or maybe 6 months, knew everyone's name on the floor and knew all their kids' names and was back and was able to, I mean, that's huge. And so my mom died of Alzheimer's just in 2017, not long ago. And it, it gives me regret that I didn't know this. Not that I know I could have done anything, because I don't know if she would have eaten it, but it just sucks that the government lied to us and we're all in this situation we're in now, right? That's what sucks. If the government had told us back in the 70s that, hey, it's not a high fat diet, it's not bad, then my mom probably would be here because she'd be following whatever the governmental guidelines were, because that's what she did. So, doctor thinks a shock. Let's see. Journal is a must. Looking back at my before and after pics, don't recognize myself. Okay. Plus showing people, yeah. Definitely pictures are huge too. Okay, we got another story here. 11 weeks in today, mostly beef and butter. Good. Continue to get more strict because I've lost very little weight so far. It's really discouraging some days to keep myself. So questions are, are you eating other dairy? Are you eating anything with a sweetener? For artificial sweeteners cause insulin spikes and can make you hold on to weight too. So just make sure that you clean it up as much as you can. And and other than that, is your food, is your clothes fitting better? Is your mental health better? Is your sleep better? Because your body could just be healing too before you start losing weight. So there's a lot of things you got to look at. Everyone is different, and all I got to say is just keep driving on and trust the process and trust your body, because your body is an amazing machine. It's a biochemical engine. And when you're feeding it the proper fuel, it will perform very well. So,
and I wonder, are you getting enough fat?
Yeah.
That happened to me at some points because I literally couldn't get my brain around eating all that fat. And from the women's side, if you're not getting enough, I did have the same exact thing happen. So you'll know if you get too much, because you're going to be in the bathroom. And maybe, I'm not a doctor, I don't know, but maybe try increasing your fat and see if that, especially because you're saying mostly beef and butter. I don't know what mostly means. For me, it was beef and butter. It was ground meat and butter. But I didn't do any dairy aside from butter. But when I did get that stall, as soon as I eat more fat.
And you need to eat to satiety. Don't don't portion, don't count any macros, eat fatty meats and add butter, or I just slice butter in the fridge and have slices I can just pick up and snack on. More butter is going to be helpful. For one, is you're going to regulate your stool to the right firmness, but you'll know, that if you're getting really hard stool too, you don't have enough fat, I guarantee it, because you should have kind of like semi-soft, and that tells you you're dialed in with your fat. But
and if it turns the other way and becomes liquid, then dial it back a little bit.
That's easy. It's super easy. All right, we're at the point now where we're going to highlight another YouTube creator, which I always do on my my channel here. I like to do this. This is Carnivore for Life. It's Alex.
Are they Are they here?
He's in the UK.
No, I mean, is he in here?
He's not in here. No, he's not. He's in the UK. So most people in UK aren't. They're sleeping by now. Yeah, they're plus 6 hours. So, but Alex, the great guy. I was on his show with a couple other UK carnivores, and it was a great discussion. He's like 65 and doesn't look anything like a 65-year-old. And he's a great story. He's been over a year, like 18 months, I think. And now he's lion diet for like 15, 20 days. Check his stuff out. It's at Carnivore for Life 65. Like and subscribe. Check his stuff out. It's good. He's always got stuff going on, and he's always got good commentary, and he's a good content provider. So make sure you check out Carnivore for Life 65. Good dude. All right. Okay, going back to our conversation. Well, we're over an hour now, but we can go a little longer, I think. Let's see.
Lamb is my favorite.
You love lamb?
Yeah, he said beef fat and lamb fat, great fried up for a snack. I love lamb.
Yeah, and you can actually go to butchers around here and like for $5 get pounds of steak trimmings, like fat trimmings. You can ask them, like, I went to the local grocer and asked them, hey, when do you trim your steaks? And they told me, I said, can I come get some fat trimmings? And they just charged me 50 cents a pound. So
good at HEB.
It was Brookshire Brothers actually down here. HEB I haven't checked with yet, but still it's going to be cheap. Even if it was $1 a pound, I'd probably buy it because it's so good. And I just dice it up and throw it in the air fryer for like 20 minutes at 390, and man, it gets all crispy. And so you render it down so you get all those crispy bites, but you also capture all that tallow, and then I pour that in my tallow jar. So you get like 2 for 1 when you do that.
Yeah, I got to go hit up the King Supers here and see, because we were just talking about this. I don't even know who I was talking with it about, but I got to go do that because
Yeah, somebody's prioritized healing first. True. And the thing about the fat, though, if you're not eating enough fat or not eating enough food, your body will get into a state, or it can get into a state where you're holding on to fat because it thinks you're starving because you're not eating enough. And your body's going to hold on to fat because that's its survival reserves, right? So that's the last thing it wants to burn. So you start burning off muscle, which is something you don't want to do, right? It looks like HEB won't sell fat trimmings. That's too bad, Missy. So Missy's here in Texas too. That's right. Hey, Missy, where are you at? I forget, if you don't mind sharing. I forget where you're at in Texas, but I'm north of Austin in Gerald, which is a very small town. We have like no stoplights, which I like. We just have stop signs, and in town, none. But and if I turn left out of my neighborhood, there's ranches, cows. Like I can go over there and shake hands with a rancher and meet them. Or if I go right, I go to the highway, and I'm where I want to go. So it's a super nice place to live for me. 10 minutes south of Austin. Okay, so she's down by like Buda or something, I guess. Maybe on 35 or somewhere down there. Okay, cool. Good deal. Maybe Kyle Buda. I don't know which I think Buda comes first. All right, let's take a look at the banners. So here's one thing I want to talk about is the carnivore diet the ultimate diet for busy people? What do you think, Kat? Tell me.
Yes, I throw some bacon in the refrigerator. I have some beef patties in the freezer. There's no thought process. There's no planning. I don't have to, make what am I going to eat and have a calendar, or, where it's pizza night. No, I know what I'm having every night, or at least I know basically what I'm having. And it's easy. If I'm going somewhere, I throw bacon in my purse. Like I have had a Ziploc bag with some burger patties in my purse.
Yeah.
It's just, there's literally nothing that has to revolve around this. And if I'm running late somewhere, which never happens, right? But if I'm running late somewhere, I just breeze by the refrigerator, grab my bag of bacon, and I'm out the door, and that's it. I'm good.
Yeah, and being a dad, doing lunch is super easy because I just get leftover dinner, which is usually burgers or hot dogs. I dice them up into pieces and throw it in his lunchbox. So my son's a carnivore too, by his choice. And then when I make breakfast, I throw a slice of bacon or 2 in there, extra crispy for him. So he's got like usually cheeseburger bites or meatball bites. with bacon and a side of cheese. I make little cheese cubes of like cheddar, which he likes, and then the cheese wisps, which are the 100% Parmesan cheese crackers. And I'll throw those in there, and he's good, man. A lot of times he doesn't even finish his whole lunch, and never complains. Always feels great. Listen, we had a soccer tournament last weekend where he played 3 games, which is hard, to play 3 games over a weekend because your body gets beat up, you get tired. He didn't sub out once, and he came to me. He goes, "Dad, this is amazing. I was not tired. I never got tired. The whole game, all 3 games, he was running at full speed, and he wasn't like putting his hands on his hips or like." He's just like at the end of the season, he's in great shape, and the carnivore diet gives him like unlimited fuel. So all the other kids are drinking apple juice and eating granola bars and doing Gatorade. He's doing water, and he just ate breakfast. That's all he ate, and he just went and did his thing. So really cool. All right, yeah. For me, the ultimate diet for busy people. For me, because I have an air fryer, that's a game changer for me because I do air fried steaks that are frozen. And then if I'm doing burgers, I get the frozen burgers a lot of time and just throw them on the grill and grill them up in a bunch. And after I cook them, I throw them back in the freezer and I microwave them, put salt on them and butter on them. And sometimes lately I got a new recipe. So I just change things up a little bit. So I do my burger patty. I nuke it for like a minute and a half, flip it over, nuke it for another minute, put some Redmond salt on it and put some butter, melt it down as I do another 30 seconds. So I've melted butter and salt on top of this burger. Then I throw a slice of cheddar cheese on there and melt that onto it. And oh my gosh, a buttery cheddar cheese, like the cheese captures all that butter and locks it into the meat. It's just the best flavor. I mean, I just, every now and then I'll do that. I don't do a lot of cheese, but I do cheese as a condiment like that. That's pretty typical.
Yeah, I'm always heating up burger patties. I keep them. If I don't make them, which I do like to do because I like to mix a little bit of ground lamb with my meat to make my patties. And recently I got some meat that has organ meat in it, so I'm going to try that. But I can get at Sam's Club the sirloin burgers, and they're 100% beef. There's nothing else in them, and I buy those and I keep them in my freezer.
Frozen ones?
They're frozen. Yep.
Yeah, that's what I do.
It's a big sleeve of them.
I do the same thing from Costco. So. Yeah, it's great. I love them. I do get my own. I do get fresh ones too from HEB though. And I just got some grass-fed, grass-finished beef, ground beef from HEB. I'm going to make meatballs out of that. So I just get and I have a meatball recipe on my channel. Check it out if you haven't done it. It's fun because it's just like egg, pork panko, cheddar cheese, and bacon bits. I get the pre-cooked bacon bits from Costco and throw them in there. And it's amazing flavor. I mean, if you need to vary your dinner a little bit. I don't do it very often, but I do vary it occasionally like that, especially when my son comes. But like you, I don't plan all my meals anymore, right? I used to plan I was a planning guy. I mean, I was planning, like even my Disney trips, I would plan out every restaurant we were going to each night. And I get reservations like 6 weeks in advance so we could get to these restaurants, have the experience. This year, we're going to Disney World in the summer, and I'm bringing an air fryer and a sleeve of burgers. And we're just going to, and I'm just gonna cook out in the hotel room, I think, at Shades of Green, and we're gonna save a ton of money, literal ton of money. It's got to be half cost to go to Disneyland if you don't eat their food. So, yeah. Well, for one thing, if you go to Disney World, it's Disney World. That's where we're going. Or you can get water for free anywhere. So we used to just go get water for free anyway. You just go get a cup of water whenever you're thirsty. So you do that. And then if you just go home and eat, and we're staying at a Disney property, the Shades of Green, which is a military MWR resort, military welfare and recreation resort. It's really good. You can just jump on the monorail, go back and eat, and then go. And of course, I'm not going to be eating as often either. I don't need to snack. I'm just going to have a couple meals a day and do that. So, yeah, Dora said, hey Dora, how's it going? Good, glad you made it. So Disney World was that for me too. It's all about the food and the rides. Yeah, it was all about the food. Like there's this drive-in theater that's indoors. It was really fun. You go get a milkshake and a burger and all these things. I'm not doing any of that this time. This is crazy. But that was like half of it was half the stress too, because you had to try to get in the restaurants, right? But it was half of the entertainment, I guess. One restaurant I will go to again is I like to catch the I like to catch the fireworks, but I hate being in crowds because I'm a veteran, and veterans don't like crowds typically because we just don't. Okay, it's a veteran thing, it's a PTSD thing, whatever you want to call it. I don't like being in crowds. I don't like being surrounded by people I don't know like that. It's not good. So, but there's a building called the Contemporary. It's a hotel that if you've ever been to Disney World, the monorail goes through the building. On the top of that building, there's a restaurant called the Californian, I think it is. And we usually go up there, get reservations at night when the sun's setting, and they have great steaks. So I will definitely eat steak there again. And they have good bourbon, which I'm a bourbon drinker, so I'll have some bourbon so I don't have to drive. And then when the fireworks start up, they let you go. They stop dinner, and everyone can go out on the balcony and look down on the park and watch the fireworks. So you're above the fireworks looking down. It's amazing, and there's no lines or so it's pretty awesome. So that's an experience I will do again, and the steaks are worth it. So, all right, that's all I got. I don't think I have any more questions. Got anything going on this week, Kat, that you want to talk about? Any new videos you want to talk about that you got coming out or you've re-released?
Well, I did re-release one with some updates in it, and I have put out, and I've actually got a couple because I just moved from Texas to Colorado. So for me, I had an empty freezer. I needed to get some stuff. So I have done a series of, come with me while I restock my kitchen with everything. And so those are out. And I think, I don't have anything planned yet for this weekend, but I got to come up with something. It's just, I just got my setup and everything, I'm just like finding all my lights and all that kind of stuff. It's been fun. Just move, they say. It'll be so much fun to start over. No, it's not. So I'm just kind of doing that type of stuff right now. And then I typically do a what I eat in a day kind of those kind of videos. And then I think I'm going to cut the training wheels off and do a live. I keep talking because you keep nagging me. So I think I'm gonna do a live. I just have to decide on my day. It'll be my first live of my own.
So I've got some hockey games. Some Red Wings games are coming up Thursday and Friday. That's great. I love watching hockey. I did do an interview. I called it the Bold interview, and it was with Bold Carnivore. So definitely check that out. Also, I do, like I said, if you are a member, I have I have special member videos they're just shorter videos. They're kind of more intimate where I talk about my life and just me. And we have a live Monday night live stream where members can actually, if they have a camera and a mic, they can join like Kat did here, along with guests that I have that are going to be veterans and or YouTube content creators live, so we can just have a conversation. It's more like a free-flowing conversation instead of a Q&A where we're answering questions just like we're just talking. And like last time we talked about bourbon we like to drink and cigars and different things. It was guys that time, so there wasn't any women there, but we were just talking about guy stuff. But anyway, it gives you, and then afterwards, if you are a member, you can watch that if you don't get to join it. But if you do get to join it, there will be a link where you can actually join with a camera. And or Mike, if you don't have a camera, you can, or don't want to feel comfortable on a camera, you can just join with a mic and talk too. So it's live action talking on Monday nights, but it's just for members only. And members, again, there's on the YouTube page, on my channel page, you can, I think it says join or support. I think
it's join.
Yeah, join. If you join, then you can become a member and you can participate in those live streams. So, all right, Dave Saulnier's out. All right, guys, I'm going to end the stream. Kat, it's been great having you. I'm going to drop you out. Stick around. We'll chat for a minute about and maybe we'll schedule that live stream after Thanksgiving. All right. Talk to you soon. All right, guys. That was a great conversation. We had a lot of good stuff going on. Hour and 18 minutes into it. Thanks for joining me. It's another week. If you're just starting out, great. Make this week count. If you've been a long time, great. Another week in the books. Like I said, pop how many weeks you've been on in the comments. If you're watching this later, drop it down in the comments below. And that's all I got, guys. So all I got to say is stay strong and overcome. Carnivore Soldier out.